Welcome, everybody, to the launch of the youth book of the Heinrich Boell Foundation on plastic. I am Delphine Lévi Alvarès. I'm the European coordinator for the Break Free from Plastic movement. And I'm very happy to welcome you all today to launch this new book, this new website with so many resources for any youth out there who's willing to understand the extent of the plastic pollution crisis and have some tools and information on how to turn the tide on plastic pollution. So we have a wonderful lineup of speakers today, and we have a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen that you can use to ask questions. So we will either address the questions with the panelists, depending on how much time we have, or they will be answered by someone from the support team. So welcome to you all. Do not also hesitate to ask people to speak more slowly if you're not an English native, if needed, and post that in the chat, just if you need. But all questions should go to the Q&A box. So I am really excited to speak with Lili Fuhr from the Heinrich Boell Foundation, who has coordinated this event. We will then speak with Gesine, who has coordinated the artistic part, all the visuals of the event, and then we'll speak to some of the advisors of the book who joined the youth steering group, and they will tell us a bit about their engagement and their journey on tackling plastic pollution. And just about the book, I mean, I'm very excited to see this version because Lili and I worked in the past on the plastic atlas that was more for an adult public, and this atlas in 2018 was really a big success, and was really and has been ever since a tool that a lot of decision makers and a lot of NGOs have been using and quoting. So I'm really hoping that this new youth book and the website that goes with it is going to have a as bright future and reception as the Plastic Atlas had at the time. So welcome, Lili. I'm very happy to be your host today. Thank you for inviting me to do so.
Thank you, Delphine.
Tell us who you are, what you do at the Heinrich Boell Foundation, and why this book. Because I remember, just for the story, that after the Plastic Atlas, Lili said never again. And then there was, shortly after that, this new project came about. So can you tell us who you are and how this all saw the light?
Yes. So yeah, I'm Lili Fuhr. I've been working for the Heinrich Boell Foundation here in Berlin, Germany for the last 15 years, for a very long time. And for the last 4 or 5 years, also in plastic. I am responsible for our work on international environmental policies and politics. So that also includes issues such as biodiversity, climate, extractive industries, a lot of different topics. But plastic has been a key issue for us in the last couple of years because we feel it's something that's very concrete. It's something that we touch. We touch plastic every day. You know, we dress up in plastic. We cover our food in plastic. We drink plastic. We eat plastic. We smear it on our faces. It's all around us. It's inside of us. It's actually quite disgusting when you think about it. But it's something that we all have an opinion about. So people care about plastic. And when you start talking about plastic, you quickly realize that it has so many aspects that through the lens of plastic, you can explain a whole range of other problems. And as you said, we started with, I actually brought the first plastic atlas here, the Plastic Atlas in German. By now we've got around 20 regional and language versions. So it's taking a tour du monde, the Plastic Atlas. And we realized that the topic is so immense and so complex that even, you know, with all of the work we put into the Plastic Atlas, it is still a topic that is not easy to understand if you don't have a university degree, if you, if you're not really into environmental issues, if you, don't like reading long texts. So we started working with Gesine Grotrian, whom you'll meet later, a graphic designer and book illustrator and author, who's done another book with us on meat before. And we felt maybe plastic is the new meat, a topic that is equally exciting and concrete.
So not the new black, but the new meat. Okay.
The new meat. And this then was the German version of the book, which is actually a printed book. So we have that. But we thought, so how are we going to reach young people all over the world who can read English? The printed book, that's a bit difficult from Berlin. So that's why we created this digital version.
Wonderful. And so you talked about the fact that it's quite difficult if you don't have a scientific background to understand the issue, or if you don't like to read long text, but also there are so many confusing information around plastic, and we hear that from so many different sorts of stakeholders that was it also one of the objectives of the book to have something where you have pretty straightforward, in a very understandable way, something that covers pretty much the whole plastics topic. Huh? It's really showing how much plastic pollution is not an ocean pollution issue only. It really starts with oil and gas, and you really see how it touches different elements of the environmental crisis, but also our lifestyle. So was it also the objective of delivering something holistic that would give a good grasp for a youth audience of what the crisis is about, and what we have to do to solve it, so that they can become change agents in that fight?
Yes, for sure. Definitely. And we already did that with the Plastic Atlas, to tell the whole story of plastic, how plastic along its entire life cycle affects people and planet. So it has health impacts, has climate impacts, it has impacts on biodiversity, on human rights. From the moment we extract oil and gas from the ground, through the use of plastic all the way to where it ends up in the environment or is dealt with in some kind of manner. The book also has a special lens because it looks at it through a question of justice and diversity. We took great care to use a gender sensitive, inclusive language, and make sure that we used, graphics and told the story in a way that it matters to everyone around the world. And one thing that is so special about this book, and we'll hear more about it throughout this hour here, is that we worked with young people from all over the world. We had several youth advisory boards, because we have several time zones in this world, who helped us and supported us. And I'm really, really excited that we have 4 members of our International Youth Advisory Board in this launch event today, so they can tell you more about it, and Gesine as well, how she worked with these young people. But that makes it special. And we want this book not just to leave young people with no hope, because it's just, the situation is so horrible and bad. It is, but there are many, many, many solutions. And the book showcases these solutions at an individual level, how we can live with less plastic and, zero waste, but more importantly, how young people and old people as well, everyone can get organized and do joint actions and become politically engaged on the issue. And that's really what we're hoping to achieve with the book, to mobilize people on the issue of plastic so they can strive for political change.
So the book is at the same time very informative, but it's also, as you say, a call to action. It's here to inspire change.
Yes.
Do you, and I know the answer, but it's better to ask a question. Do you see that the youth has a particular role to play in turning the tide on plastic pollution, in continuing and accelerating this transition towards, I wouldn't say circular economy, but towards a single-use free world and a really much more circular world? And yeah, so I lost my sentence, but you get the question.
Yes, I think that the youth have a role to play, and they're already playing it. I mean, we see a strong youth movement on environmental issues, already working across the world. They've taken up not just the climate crisis as an issue of concern to them, but beyond that, the overall environmental crises and how they interrelate. They're going to have to live on this planet for much longer than we will. And what I personally realized working with these young people on this book is that they're very clear about what they think. For them, the issues are very clear. The problem is clear, and the solutions need to be radical in the original sense of going to the root of the problem. So they don't mess around with small scale end of pipe solutions. They want to see the real change, and they want to see it now, and they want to be part of it. And that was really, really inspiring, and that gives me hope. So I really hope that as many young people around the world as possible will benefit from the resources that we've put together, because it's just data, facts and figures that others have created. We haven't done any original research on that ourselves. We've just pulled it all together and put it in one spot and created the visuals for that to accompany to transmit and transport the information.
So what is one thing that you've really learned from this youth advisory board along this process? Because the book is here to educate the youth in general, but you work with young people that are very informed, very engaged. If you had to say one thing that you really learned from them and got inspired by, what would it be?
I think it's maybe the less is more. So don't try to put too much information in one single graphic on one page in one sentence. Focus on the most relevant substance and then scrap off the rest and just give the basic, most important information. So that the focus on the most important things. Yeah. I would actually like to show the website briefly.
Yeah, I was about to ask. So
I think we've talked about it now for so long. People
navigate. Let's just navigate this website and show the resources.
Yeah. So we'll be sharing a screen here, so you can see it. You might have opened it already because the link was shared in the chat. So this is what it looks like, and we're very excited about this. It's a website. If you open it, it will look a bit different every time. So it gives you the different chapters, the different topics, 70 questions. We have altogether 70 questions about plastic, answered in mostly infographics, short texts, and some stories. And these 70 chapters are divided, 70 graphics or pages are divided into 4 chapters. So if we can see the menu briefly, there's a quick menu here. So you can see there is a chapter about, what is plastic? There's a chapter about waste. There is one on what all of that has to do with me, how it affects me, my life, how it affects animals, the climate. And then maybe most importantly, one on solutions. So, and you find additional information about the book in this menu. Maybe we'll just pick one graphic, maybe the one from my background. It's actually my favorite one that I have in the background.
I really want to get this picture and use it in all my PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah. I always get, oil spills on my shoulder here. So we can open that tab page briefly, if that's possible. So it says, imagine we had a tap we could turn off, turn off the tap for the oil and gas industry so we can stop the plastic flood. So that's one page. And if we scroll down, you can see there, you can click to the next page, but there are also related topics. So other interesting things. So let's look at this one. Yeah. What is fracking? So that's a page that talks about the technology fracking, how oil and gas is extracted for plastic production. And because these topics are complex, we use a lot of words that are hard to understand. So what we have at the bottom, we scroll down, it says glossary. So let's check, for example, one, ethane. What is that? You click on that and then the glossary opens and you can read about the term that you didn't understand. With your browser, you can go back to the page you were on before. And if you want to know, well, where did they get all of that information from on fracking? Then there is a link for sources. And you click on that and it gives you the information with the links to the pages and scientific reports and websites, etc., that we used to compile the infographic. So it's all there and you can navigate the page. And if you want to go back to home and see the nice tiles, you just click on the header and then you're back. See, it looks slightly different now when we go back. So that's our website. You'll see a bit more later with Gesine.
Well, it's pretty incredible resource, and you don't need to be young to use it, I believe.
No, you don't. No, it's for everyone.
The glossary, the visuals, it's very important. And this picture that you've chosen is so symbolic. It's, I think it's one of the most powerful metaphor that I've heard when we started building the Break Free from Plastic movement. And that really comes back to this idea of going back to the root cause of the issue, not only looking at the effects, so turtles choking on plastic bags with straws in their nose and things like that, but really the I was about to say the atlas, but the book itself really covers a wide range of topic. And as you said just before, it's plastic is really a cross-cutting issue. How did you have to pick the number of issues, connected issues to plastic you had to cover, or was it pretty easy and natural to choose chemicals, fracking, and all of that?
Now, the way that we worked was, so we started reaching out to young people age 11 or 12 and above from all over the world, whoever we could reach, with a survey, a questionnaire, asking them to share with us their questions about plastic. So we collected questions and we had many of them, many more than we could answer in the end. But that was really the starting point, young people's questions about plastic. And then we began to sort them and put them into a specific order, and then ended up with these 4 chapters. We didn't plan it like that right from the start. It just ended up being about that naturally. So I think we were sure from our side that there were certain topics that we wanted to cover. But others, for example, one thing that the Plastic Atlas doesn't really have is a deep dive into the chemistry of plastic. And I have to say, I'm really proud that we managed that, and grateful to Gesine, the book designer, who made sure that we really took up the issue of chemistry here. Because I think as a movement working against plastic, that information in an easy to understand format is not available anywhere else. And I hope that pages like that will also serve universities and schools, so teachers can make use of that as well. And I think that's something special, that we really take up the issue of chemistry and additives.
Yeah, these are the pages I got stuck on. I was like, oh, I need to learn that by heart. I deal with plastic every day, all the time, but because it's so complex, we tend to avoid getting into the weeds of it. So
yes, and for example, one thing that I personally learned that I really didn't know before I started working on the book, and I had done the atlas already, was really understanding how the chemistry of plastic affects the question of how well or not plastic can be recycled. So, we all know that there is a challenge around plastic recycling, but that this has to do with the polymers and, the molecules in plastic and how they react is something that I had to learn. It was quite clear to the young folks immediately that plastic recycling will not be the solution.
Which is an important message of the book, for sure. Thank you so much, Lili, for explaining the genesis and the process leading to this book. Someone who was instrumental in this process is the artist behind the great visual representations and graphics that you have in the book. So I will invite her to join me. Gesine Grotrian, I'm sorry for my bad German accent. You are the pen, the hand behind all this beautiful, but also very informative, very clear, very comprehensive graphics. I would like you to introduce yourself and why you got involved in this process. What was so special for you to get on board with this project?
Hi, Delphine. Thank you. Yeah, actually, it's much more easier to let the pictures talk for me. And I'm really happy you already saw some of them of the project. Yeah, I'm Gesine Grotrian and I'm based in Berlin and I'm doing books for 30 years, I think. I think from my heart, I'm like a communication designer. And in this process, I learned like with the first book for the Boell Foundation, I learned that the point is to communicate to young people a book is to ask them what they want. Because one thing I learned in life is that adults always think what young people think, yeah, but it's not true. And one thing I learned when I asked them, how do you want to have all these facts, all these informations? Do you want to have a book? How do you want to have it? They said, we want hard facts. And we want to accept to see it quick. Yeah, we don't want to read pages. We hate reading. If we see a lot of letters, sorry, we don't want to read that. We want to get it quick, but it must be really real facts. Yeah, no smooth things, not nice made, not really facts. And then I had a group like 5 years ago and I invented this working together. I asked them, how do you want to have a book? And they said they want to have these information graphics, but they have to look nice. So you can really like intuitive see what it means. And then I started because I think I know how to do graphic. I know how to work with colors. I know how to get information together and bring it to the point, because like from the beginning, I was more like a poster designer. Mm-hmm. And to make a poster, you have to have really quick information on the first view. And later on, you need something in your mind which makes you think like, I need to connect, something in your head needs to happen. And then a graphic works really good. If it's only nice and quick watching, you forget it. But if it has a little point, something extra, something you need to think, then you take it in your head and in your heart and you take it with you and think later on it. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to have all these informations for the young people. They want to have it in that way, yeah, very adultish, very real, like graphic design.
So very few words, hard facts, nice graphics and colors.
Yeah.
Can you see one or two examples, your favorite ones? We look at, have a little bit of an explanation about why you organize in that way.
I like the one I have in my background. Is quite good working for me because I did the book and it has all these spreads all around in the word. But in the book, it is for the Lili, wie heißt es? The plastic big thing we want to have, the plastic treaty. So it's a background graphic for that. And my favorite graphic I want to show, and maybe we can share the screen and go on the page, is the one, this one I want to show you. I want to start with that one because now we can't see it on one page because these graphics on the web version, they are squares. But here you see on one view, first, if you go a little down, it comes from the soil, it comes from oil and gas from the ground. And we all know it's very old and it needs a long time to get there and to be oil and gas. And at the end, through all this way, it becomes to be plastic wasted in a few minutes. And I think, I'm the one in this group today who doesn't know too much about plastic. I know a lot about communication, but I learned all these things in the last year. And I was so impressed. I mean, I was shocked that we use something in such a short time, which needs to get to be the oil from where the plastic comes in such a long time. So I wanted to have this on one page. If we can scroll a little up again, then we see it better on one view. So I wanted to have like a poster view on where you see it on one view. Yeah, long time and short in one.
To show really the inconsistency of using a fossil resource for something that's going to be used and disposed in a few minutes. That's very powerful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Gesine. I will let you go, and I will invite our 4 advisory board members who have worked with you on putting that together, informing the way this book should be designed, to join me. So we have Veronica, who is based in Canada. Welcome, Veronica. You can turn on your camera. Sa, who's based in Thailand. Welcome, Sa. And we have Michelle and Jeremy, who are based in Kenya. So welcome to the 4 of you. I am very happy and honored to talk to you today. I will start with Veronica, maybe. If you want to introduce Age Support Youth and talk about your journey on this book, but also what brought you to get interested in the plastic pollution crisis, and how is that affecting your life as a young person, as a young activist in general, and some of the solutions maybe, so that we already bring a bit of hope in this conversation.
Yeah, well, sure. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. My name is Veronica. I am from Canada, and I am part of Hey Youth, which is Health and Environment Justice Youth. And Hey Youth consists of young and very motivated activists committed to achieve a healthy and toxic-free future for all. And we are actually currently based in Canada and Germany. And we focus on topics such as plastic pollution, sustainability, as well as youth and chemicals and youth activism. And of course, we are honored to be members of the youth committee for the book Unpacked, Plastic Waste and Me. And it is with great pleasure that we get to share our opinions and perspectives on the current plastic pollution crisis with other leading youth groups. So definitely the plastic pollution crisis has had an effect on all of our lives. We see plastic in our house, outside, and what got me personally into the plastic movement is the fact that I always see people outside throwing away plastic and not caring. But the problem is plastic pollutes our world, and today it can literally be found anywhere, in the water we drink, in the food we eat, in the clothing we wear, and in the air we breathe, and even in the soil. And it harms wildlife and fragile ecosystems and people around the world. And I thought that this was a big problem that is only growing from year to year. And that is what got me into the movement and Hey Youth in general. And so you asked about solutions, and of course, to any crisis, there should be a solution. And there are different solutions to the plastic pollution crisis. Predominantly, it is important to raise awareness, as this is the fundamental principle for any change. And this can be done at community, national, or even international levels. But what does this mean specifically? So raising awareness can take several forms. First, it's political involvement, meaning that you would write letters to your members of parliament with specific demands regarding the current and future regulations and legislations on plastic pollution, usage, import, and export in your country. Then it is organizing campaigns, such as what Hey Youth is doing with other leading groups. So this can take the form of social media awareness, which is extremely important in today's world. And of course, hosting events for your family, community, where you'd inform them about the crisis and about the necessity to use less plastic in their lives. And of course, joining NGOs or foundations that specifically focus on combating the plastic pollution crisis. And finally, from a more personal perspective, it would be buying and starting to live a zero waste life. So not using any single-use plastics, using water bottles made out of glass or stainless steel, or start buying clothes made preferably out of organic materials. And of course, it's educating yourself, such as with this book, Unpacked Plastic Waste and Me.
And for this book, you participated in the youth committee. So how was this experience? Did you make new friends, like young activists like yourself? Did you learn anything that really inspired you in your action in Canada?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this was an incredible opportunity to come together with a global community, with people from all around the world. And we got to share our opinions, our perspectives, and the challenges that we face in our own countries, because around the world, the situation is different. And I got to make a lot of friends. And it was just incredible to see how youth is actually taking this problem into their own hands and standing up, having their governments accountable and pushing for real action. Yep. And yeah, the book itself was great. It was a great experience, for sure.
Thank you so much, Veronica. And so some of the people you met are on this call. I will turn to Michelle and Jeremy, who have contributed as well, and who also have co-founded an NGO in Kenya that's looking at plastic pollution. So that's very impressive. Welcome to the two of you. Can you tell me a bit more how you started this NGO and your journey with plastic pollution that eventually got you involved in this project?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Michelle Muchelwa. We are from Kisumu, Kenya, and I'm the co-founder of Bring Back Lake Victoria. And Bring Back Lake Victoria is a campaign that my brother and I started in July 2020. And our vision is to restore Lake Victoria to its pristine condition. And our goal is to eradicate plastic pollution in Lake Victoria. So the interesting thing is we never actually saw ourselves starting this campaign a year ago. Our campaign is actually less than a year old. The first time we saw plastic washing up on the shores of Lake Victoria was in 2018, and we were running along the shores with our cousins racing. Then we got to the water and it was covered with plastic, and it was all types of plastic. There were shoes, there were bottles, there were takeout containers. And until then, we had been hearing of plastic pollution in the news, but we thought that this was only a problem that affected the oceans. But seeing that plastic there and seeing it covering the water and seeing it covering the sun made us realize that this problem was actually real and it is here with us. So the first thought we had was to start doing cleanups, but at the time we had school, so we thought, no, we are not going to be able to handle this right now. Maybe we can do something after school, because we felt like we were too young. We felt like it wouldn't be possible to actually create change at our age. Then in 2020, schools in our country closed in March due to COVID, and we suddenly had a lot of free time on our hands. So we decided to participate in the Ocean Heroes virtual bootcamp. And that was one of the best experiences of our lives, because we got to explore the plastic pollution issue. We got to learn about what causes plastic, and we got to dig deeper into solutions. That was when we were inspired to start our campaign and become the change in our communities and raise our voices for Lake Victoria's health. So it was an interesting story. And of course, at first we wanted to start a recycling center because we believed that recycling was the solution to plastic waste. Then as we went and started doing cleanups and we learned more about the issue, we realized that this actually can't be solved by recycling. We realized that the first major issue with pollution is the fact that people are not aware. Like, we were walking around during our cleanups asking people about plastic pollution, and they were asking us why we are picking up plastic. None of them knew that plastic actually takes 450 years to decompose, because that's not something that they tell you when they're marketing it to you. So we realized that recycling is not the solution. So we've begun by creating awareness, but we also realized that another issue is it was really hard for us to design solutions and objectives for our campaign because we couldn't find any. We're raising awareness, and then we are trying to collect data so that we can actually put in effective research-based solutions. And we are asking our politicians in Kenya to begin looking at managing it and then banning it, because a city we live in like Kisumu is not able to manage plastic waste. So what's happening is there's plastic waste everywhere. It's in our drainage systems, it's in our rivers, and it's in our lake, and it's choking Lake Victoria. It's choking the fish, it's clouding, it's covering the water so that we can no longer get enough fish from the lake. And deep, it's not just an environmental problem, but it's a health issue as well, because when people are not getting their fish, lakeside communities rely on fish as their main source of protein. So we now have malnutrition rising in our lakeside in Kisumu. And then there's also the issue of losing your livelihood, because they used to sell fish, and that would be what the money from selling fish is what they would use to take their children to school. So now you're having communities becoming poorer and poorer, malnutrition rising. People are not even able to take their kids to hospital when they're sick. And that's what Bring Back Lake Victoria is trying to stop. So far we've removed about 2,000 kgs of plastic from the lake through cleanups, and we've logged all of this so that we can use it to understand just how much plastic is entering the
We're experiencing some connection issues. I guess she meant know how much plastic is entering the environment, use that for advocacy. It is very inspiring and very powerful. I will go back to Michelle and Jeremy when their connection is working again. In the meantime, we're gonna travel from Kenya to Thailand with Sa. Welcome, Sa. So you also have quite a long journey on looking at plastic pollution and climate change in Thailand. So can you tell us a bit about your journey and your involvement in this advisory board?
Hi, I'm Sa from Thailand. I'm currently a Greenpeace youth. My journey started from last year when the pandemic first hit. I came across with the documentary called The Story of Plastic, and it totally blew my mind. I started to see a big picture of what we were facing. And I think I kind of realized that we have been focusing on the wrong point. I mean, starting with yourself is a great concept, but EPR is also a great concept. EPR, extended producer responsibility. I think we should make that happen, because I think the producer should have a responsibility for their packagings and the producers of everything. And after that, I have opportunity to join Youth Webmaker at Greenpeace. I see clearly pictures of what we are facing too. And I realized that marine life is so important, and plastic pollution is harming them. And it play a big role in it. It feels so bad that they have no choice, or the animal, and they have to live with our consequences that we make. And ever since I educated myself, I changed my behavior, become more a conscious consumer. And for plastic pollution in Thailand, I think, and I was saying that EPR is something that I think is the best solution for, and not for Thailand, but for other countries too, that make politicians take this seriously and make it happen, because it's not just economic recession that is going to happen after the pandemic, but also the plastic problem and climate crisis that are coming.
Well, thank you so much, Sa. I see that Michelle and Jeremy are back, so I'll go back. Oh, they're gone again. So, are you with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
we were having some network issues.
I just wanted to finish your story before I ask all of you here how it was to be in that advisory group and really help shaping this book. So, Michelle, you were saying that you were tracking and collecting all the data to know what was entering the environment. Jeremy, what's your involvement also on this topic? What's your particular focus? And how was it for you to participate in this experience? Did you hear my question, Jeremy? Our connection is...
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
No, pardon?
Did you hear me?
No, not really. Kindly say it again. Network is still a bit problematic.
Okay, feel free to turn off your camera if it's better. And we can continue just with your voice. So do you want to share with us a bit more about your involvement, Jeremy, in this project? We've heard the wonderful pitch of your sister. What's your particular focus on the plastic pollution issue, and how is it for you to contribute to this book?
Okay, so for me, what I mostly focus on currently is on the technological side of the campaign, because we realized back during our cleanups that we would need to involve technology to make some processes easier, like data collection and monitoring. Because currently after cleanups, the way that we were recording the data is we had to use papers, but that was also hurting the trees in a sense, because yes, you're saving the lake, but now forests are being cut down as well. So now we decided to fully move the data collection online, and we decided that why not only move it online, but create an app that's suited to Lake Victoria so that anyone around the lake can help collect data on plastic pollution. So this led us to creating the Bring Back Lake Victoria app that is currently called Ziwa Safi, and it's not yet done, but we are still working on some adjustments to it and hope to release it in January. Anywhere around Lake Victoria can collect data on plastic pollution, and that's why we're also making it as simple and as user-friendly as we can. And other than that, we're also trying to work on a concept, because yes, we're doing the beach cleanups, but currently there's a carpet of plastic under Lake Victoria. So what we're working on doing is a concept to develop a drone that gets the plastic from the bottom of the lake. And immediately we proposed this, we got some backlash on what happens if it picks a fish or fish eggs, which is why we are planning to use a form of sound waves that are programmed to, it's sort of like a radar type of thing, where it goes to the bottom of the lake, and if it reads back a certain code, then you know it's plastic. Therefore, the drone will only be going set positions, and it will not be picking things that are currently moving, preventing it from harming the lake in any way. But currently what we're focusing on is the app and awareness, and we'll work on the drone a bit later because we're taking it at a bite-sized chunk.
That's really impressive. Very, very impressive. Thank you, Jeremy, for sharing that. Going back to all of you, so you got involved in this wonderful project. You had the opportunity to contribute to the book, to meet other young activists. Sa, how was it for you to be in that advisory board and to see the graphics firsthand, give your opinion, help shape what is going to be a very powerful tool for more young activists like you?
I feel very privileged for this. It's nice to be heard as a youth, and I kind of like proud to see it first a bit, because I think it's a big change for youth to realize that recycle is not a solution, because a lot of news and a lot of report has said that the recycle is less than 1% that can help us with the pollutions. And I think, sorry, the connection.
We can hear you.
And I think this book is very great because it's connect all the dots for me. As I was saying that I started last year and I have to collect all the information which is like related to this problem, which is a lot of related problem. And this book is cover everything, so I think it's such a great tool for kids. And also the graphic is really fun and quick, easy to absorb in the first time.
Thank you, Sa. Michelle, Jeremy, how was it for you to be in that advisory board? Was it fun? Are you also just like Sa, proud and did you learn and make new activist friends? Did you hear me? No, you did not. Veronica, going to you. While we're dealing with connection issues.
Oh, sorry, we didn't hear you. Please repeat what you said.
I just asked you how it was for you to be in this advisory board and like, how do you feel about the book coming out with your inputs?
Oh, yeah, working on the advisory board was a lot of fun because we got to meet people from around the world passionate about plastic pollution. And it was actually really cool because we got to dive deeper into the issues. Working on the advisory board and working on the book actually made me realize just how many of plastic, and that was actually troubling. We realized that toys are actually made of plastic, laptops, electronics, almost everything that we use in our everyday. Getting to dig deeper into solutions and getting to learn more about the plastic issue was actually really fun. And we're really excited that such a resource is actually going to be out there for more people to learn about the issue and educate themselves on plastic pollution so that we can start working towards real solutions. I'll let Jeremy say what he thought of the experience as well.
For me, working on the advisory board was amazing because our ideas were actually taken in and incorporated and no one was turned down. Plus, I also got to realize them because, you know, at first when you're entering, you know it's a big problem, but you never realize truly how much we're dealing with until you actually note it down and you see it for yourself. That again, it was fun working with other people and seeing how the book developed was amazing. Then again, getting to interact with everyone and getting to air out your ideas and getting to read through it as it was being developed was quite fun. And if I ever get another chance, I'd take it up.
Yeah, I will come back to you actually because there are a few questions for you. Veronica, last but not least, how was your experience as well?
Yeah, well, for sure. It was a great experience. The book is such an inspiring and wonderful resource for youth who just want to learn more about the crisis that is currently happening in their country and even on an international level. And it will also inspire people to take action. It can be small steps like changing their lifestyle or even taking action on a larger level. And also, I found it really amazing that we were able to be part of this interactive and engaging process that created this resource that people our age, younger, older, can use. And we were able to talk it over with people from various countries and see their perspectives. And it covered a serious topic that right now, I think there's hope that with this book, people will educate themselves and there will be actual change.
Amazing. Thanks, Veronica. I'm going to invite Lili and Gesine to join us for the end of this conversation and taking some of the questions we have from the audience. Thank you for your questions. Keep them coming. We have a question for Jeremy, but I think they got oh no, they're back. Okay. So Jeremy, someone was asking if it's difficult to find funding for the technological side of plastic pollution remediation. So the app development, some of the monitoring tools you've been talking about. Have you guys tried to raise money for that? Is it a challenge?
Currently for the app, we are participating in a competition for it. So at the end of the competition, they connect you to investors and potential. Yeah, they connect you to investors and get the word out there, which makes it easier for you to do startups and to get funding. But for the drone, currently, no, we've not yet searched for funding for it because we are still writing down the concept. But for the drone, we are currently working with the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, and the Kisumu branch, the core branch, told us that if we can turn it into a concept, there are a lot of organizations that would be willing to pick it up, and there are a lot of people who would be enthusiastic to take it up. So we just have to turn it into a concept, and the funding will come as soon as we start out.
Amazing. Lili, I know that you also work a lot on the technology aspect and all the technological solutions and fake fixes that we're trying to be solved. Do you want to say a word about this question?
Yeah, maybe briefly. So I think technologies, as Jeremy described, are really important and can be used for activists. As you know, they can be really useful tools, but they can also easily distract from the real solutions. And there's one graphic. I'm just going to highlight that in the printed book right now. It's easy to find on the website as well. This is a very easy graphic that shows, with a, supposedly a solution that just it gets a lot of attention, and that has to do with cleaning the oceans from plastic waste, just collecting waste in the ocean. I think everyone has probably heard about it, which we felt we had to have it in the book. But the book says it's a tiny solution, because the amount of plastic that through technology we can possibly collect is just so small compared to the overall problem of plastic. So a solution that can only achieve this little gets so much attention, and that becomes a problem in itself if we don't put our resources, at the right into the right solutions. So technology can help, but technology can really create a lot of false solutions, dead ends, and cause problems as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for naming that. We have another question about how do we make sure that we do not leave anyone behind in our discussion on solutions? And they are particularly mentioning the rural areas where it can be more difficult to find things like packaging-free shops. And at the same time, I want to return the question to our panelists, because we also see that depending on where you are in the world, in rural areas, you may have access to only zero waste things because you buy directly from the producers. So it really depends on the region. How did you approach this question of making sure that the solutions pushed forward are inclusive of people living in different areas, different class, different categories of people, social economic background, and so on and so forth?
I can try and answer, but maybe someone else also wants to answer, because I feel like that was one of the reasons why we wanted people from all over the world in our youth advisory board, because we felt, us sitting in Berlin could not possibly take on all of these various perspectives. The list of solutions that we have in the book is definitely not complete, just to be clear on that. It's just, a selection of things that we felt we wanted to highlight in the book. it's clear that not all of them will work everywhere. It's also, for example, not possible for everyone in every country to go out on the streets and protest without being arrested. So there is a wide, diversity in how people can approach these solutions and what they can personally do. So what we wanted to give is sort of different. So we try to pick a diversity in approaches as well, from the personal to the political, from the radical to the more conventional, and a mix of solutions, and try to keep in mind that people are just as diverse as, the effects of plastic on the planet. And I feel that the youth in our advisory group actually had the strongest impact in ensuring that we held that thought throughout the bookmaking process. So I don't know if Sa, maybe you chose a zero waste background, the reuse system, which is different in every country. So I'm curious what you think.
I think definitely recycle is not our solution. I was saying that EPR is something that we have been protesting, I would say, and I've been talk about it, and it's quite a tough question for Thailand. I would say is a slow process for getting it done or make it happen. So I think maybe avoiding completely can happen in Thailand. Refill and reuse is something that I think everyone can do it. Maybe just a little by little, just reuse something that you have, and there are quite a process have been occasions in this, because we have a lot of a refill shop in Thailand. We've been seeing a lot of them lately, and I think CR would be our answer, except for the recycle part.
Thank you, Sa. And also in some places, these things have been existing for a long time and have never disappeared. So I think it's important to say that. A last question maybe for Veronica before we wrap up. So how is this fight connected with how the youth movement working on plastic is connecting with the youth movement working on climate? Have you seen any connection being made between the two? Are you yourself involved in the climate movement as well? Or is it the same thing?
Mm-hmm. Well, climate and plastic, though they seem as two different topics, they're very connected, because the plastic pollution crisis is impacting our climate, because it is impacting our world. So when it comes to the two movements merging or coming together, for sure, we see a wide range of youth activists focusing both on the plastic pollution crisis while at the same time tackling climate change or climate crisis. And well, at Hey Youth, we're working on both actually. And what we do is we separate them, but we separate them, but they are together in a way. So in other words, we, alongside other youth leaders, we host webinars, so which kind of interlinks both topics. And that is what we are seeing other youth organizations doing at the same time. And so the question is, how have you connected? Yeah, so it's just searching. It's just a matter of searching and finding people who work on these topics. And a lot of youth, as I mentioned, do tackle both questions.
Thank you so much to all of you for your inputs, for this wonderful book, for the great conversation. I'm very inspired and not remotivated, because I never lost motivation, but I was very, very impressed by everyone's work here. The book is available online in English and soon in other languages. There are lots of resources that you can download. The actual book that you can put on your bedside table, the printed version, is in German only. I would say for now, but we don't know. So learn German to enjoy the book in printed version. And the book will be in more languages. It's always a wonderful thing that the Heinrich-Böll Foundation does, is really making these resources available for the largest number of people. So you can find the backgrounds we've been using today on the website, use that for your presentations. Always give credit to Gesine and Heinrich-Böll Foundation, please. Besides that, I mean, I'm just encouraging you to share it with your niece, nephew, daughters, sons, the kids of your friends, your neighbors, anybody. If you work in schools, get that as soon as you can, print it to share it with your students, and basically spread the word and read it yourself, even if you're, you know, above 20. Is it 20 the limit to be young? I hope not. I still really much feel youth. Anyway, it is a wonderful resource for everybody, so please use it. And thank you so much for the advisors of this book, the artists and the brains behind the project, and the Heinrich-Böll Foundation, who always comes up with these great ideas. I wish you all a beautiful end of your day or night or morning, depending on where you are in the world. And we're looking forward to connecting with you soon through the Break Free from Plastic movement. And you can reach out to our panelists as well if you want to know more about their projects, especially if you are in their country. Thank you so much. Have a great day, night, morning.
Thank you, Delphine.
Bye, everybody.